Good evening. I'd like to call the General Committee meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather together this evening in service to the children of our community. Father, we ask a special blessing on this Veterans Day for all the men and women in our military who are sustaining freedom for us and for those across the globe. Be with all of those from our community who are deployed and return them safely home at the end of their current assignments. We also ask a special blessing upon our veterans who fought the good fight and who sacrificed so much that our children may attend school, learn of their liberties, and gain an appreciation of the men and women who have kept and will keep generations safe and secure. We are aware of our debt to our veterans, and we pray for their well-being and reverent remembrance. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Egan, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Ms. Foche.
Mrs. Acevedo?
Here.
Mr. Campbell?
Here.
Mrs. DeFatta?
Here.
Mr. Egan?
Here.
Mr. England?
Here.
Mrs. Dysart?
Here.
Dr. Kraft had surgery yesterday, but he talked to me, and he is doing very, very well and expects to be back next week. Dr. Lewis?
Here.
And Mr. Long also called. He is ill this evening. Mr. Nicosia?
Here.
Mr. Warner?
Here.
Thank you, Ms. Foche. Before we go on to our agenda items, we have a couple of point of privileges. Mr. England.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Dysart. At this time, I'd just like to take a moment of silence for a person that from this parish has served this parish as the sheriff and a DA for many years. He was really an icon of this parish and really a cornerstone of the St. Bernard Parish. So if we just have a moment of silence, please. Thank you, and our condolences go out to the Raleigh family, and thank you, Ms. Dysart. Now, I do have something else on a personal privilege. Congratulations to Ms. Dysart. I understand that you are a grandmother.
Again?
Stella Kay?
Stella Kate.
Stella Kate. Okay, I got it wrong. I'm sorry about that, but I got it right. But congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mr. England. Thank you. Yes, Stella Kate is our newest member of our family, and we're very happy. Thank you. Oh, another big blessing. And again, our condolences to the Raleigh family. And Mr. Jack Raleigh has served this parish for so many years, and he will be missed. A wonderful man. Fine, fine gentleman. Thank you, Mr. England.
You're welcome.
And on another note, a happy note, we have one of our board members who has a birthday. Happy birthday to Mr. Ron Nicosia. Happy birthday, Ron.
Right.
And many, many more.
Oh, yeah.
And congratulations, Ron. Also, his son has been elected the new district attorney, Perry Nicosia. So congratulations to the Nicosia family. Happy birthday. Okay. First item on the agenda are the upcoming cultural arts events. Good evening, Mr. Kassar.
Good evening, everybody. Once again, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys and to share some of the wonderful work that's being done by our students under the very talented hand of many wonderful teachers and community members who are helping. If I could direct your attention to the golden sheet, it's sort of an interesting lead-up to the holiday. On last Thursday, November 6th, we were very fortunate to be able to bring 30 high school students to the Sanger Theater to see the Phantom of the Opera. Compliments of Mr. Carey. It was truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. not just the finances that were involved, because as you can imagine, ladies and gentlemen, these tickets were very expensive. And the cycle of Broadway shows, it could be another 6 or 8 years before kids have the opportunity to see this. And the students who got to attend were kids in the show chorus, kids who performed this kind of music. So it was truly, you know, a monumental experience emotionally as well as artistically for these kids to see it. There was also a team of tech students who were able to attend. So again, Mr. Carey, publicly to say thank you for all the amazing, amazing things you have helped to make happen for our students. This coming week at Chalmette High School, CHS Live is going to do a wonderful English comedy called Cash on Delivery. And these are students who've been with us a while, and comedy is probably the most difficult thing to do and to do well. And some of our veteran students are doing a wonderful job. So I think you'll enjoy the show. Mr. Warner asked me to personally invite you guys, and if any of you would like to attend, if you'll call the 9th Grade Academy and talk to Miss Robin, she'll make sure you all have great, great seats. Okay? And then as things that are soon to be upon us, as well as things that will continue through the remainder of our school year, the 200th anniversary of the Battle of New Orleans is truly a monumental event that's occurring. And we as a school district are finding ways for our students to participate and to be able to gain from the experience. The very first event that will take place will be at Chalmette Elementary School on November 21st. Miss Charlene Strain has been working with a group of students at each grade level, kindergarten all the way through 5th grade, in Regency dance. And Regency dance is the mother of line dancing, actually. And it's the dance that you see in movies like Pride and Prejudice and those kinds of things. So we will have students and volunteers from around the community and beyond at Chalmette Middle School, Chalmette Elementary School on November 21st. And we will have people both in Regency costumes as well as kids making their way as young Regency dancers. Then I'm going to fast forward to an event, and Ms. Voce asked that maybe I speak to you guys again in December on the real meaty details that are involved in what's going on with the Battle of New Orleans. But certainly all of you should put January 8th on your calendar. That is the battlefield commemoration ceremony, which will occur at 9:30, and they're expecting 1,500 to 2,000 people there. Officials, military people from all over the country will be there to celebrate this truly august occasion which will occur in our community. Our Chalmette High School has been asked to participate to some degree at that event. And then on January 9th, the reenactment of the Battle of New Orleans will be full-blown in lots of capacities. Much more details to share with you guys. But essentially, we're at the point of about 1,700 volunteers have registered to come into our community to help bring to life this amazing experience. And certainly, we're working toward elementary, middle, and high school students being able to see and participate in that. OLPS is doing a memorial program on January 9th and have reached out and asked for our high school students to participate and potentially others. And then the program that has been sort of the mainstay for many years, the National Park Service's School Day, will also be that day from 9 to 4. And there are just a host of things going on before as well as after, which I'll share with you guys at another time. Christmas. It's truly an exciting time, a wonderful time when teachers are able to, I think, both coordinate curriculum, excitement, and expectations kind of into one wonderful effort. And we get to see the wonderful work that's being accomplished, not just done, but accomplished at our elementary, middle, and high school throughout our community. And there's a number of things taking place, the traditional things like Celebration in the Oaks. There'll be a wonderful big combination of the Children's Christmas Festival at Dockville on December 13th, in which all of our schools are participating, and the Tour of Homes are joining forces that day for probably the largest Christmas festival we've ever accomplished in the community, which will be, I think, a truly wonderful high point. December 10th, let's see, sorry. December 11th and 12th will be Chalmette High School's annual Christmas show, which will also be an extraordinary program that will feature band, chorus, dancers, and just a whole wonderful array of our wonderful, talented students and teachers who help teach those students on a regular basis. And I guess some very traditional things that will be occurring on December 7th. The Isleño Christmas Bonfire program will occur, and we have Chalmette High School, Goche, and St. Bernard participating in that wonderful annual event. Another unusual piece that will occur for Chalmette High School, the band has been asked to participate with the Sweet Adelines at what's called the Crescent City Sound Chorus program on December 6th, which I think is going to take place at St. Martin's Episcopal. So this is just an incredible, incredible opportunity. So, and then we will round off the holiday season with the after-school ballet recital, which will take place December 17th, in which our elementary, middle, and some high school students have the opportunity to participate. And I'm just kind of moving it all around rather than just going down the list with you guys. Andrew Jackson has been participating at the Roosevelt Hotel for quite some time. They go and sing at lunchtime. And, you know, the Roosevelt regularly draws an audience of people because of the indoor decorations. And schools are invited from the metro area to bring music. And Andrew Jackson does that with their chorus. So it's truly a wonderful thing. We have several schools participating at the Wow Cafe restaurant. They're bringing their music to that event. And so we've got kids in just all kinds of opportunities. We have a draft for you for the very last page of the red packet. This is the schedule as it appears. It's not fully fleshed out completely yet because we're still working with the Tour of Homes people to finish those details. But as you can see, at Dockville, there'll be performances from 11 o'clock basically through 8 o'clock in the evening. There's some other dramatic pieces that are occurring. Mr. Hyland was approached by the Friends of the Cabildo to look at bringing some of our actors to the Cabildo to help bring to life the story of the people and the times of the Battle of New Orleans. And we're working on that both potentially for the holiday season to sort of begin to debut that process, and then at the end of the Battle of New Orleans celebration, there's something that's called the Tall Ship Celebration, which ships with grand sails come in. It's going to be the finale piece for the Battle of New Orleans, and potentially our students will be participating with Friends of the Cabildo members who do historic reenactment. So we've got all kinds of wonderful things that are coming to play. So, any questions?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kassar. Questions, anyone? Mr. Kassar, I have a question. In what capacity will Chalmette High School be participating in the battlefield commemoration? You said that Chelmsford High School will be participating?
Yes, ma'am. That particular event, the Junior ROTC will act as the honor guard welcomers.
Okay.
As the buses are going to pick up from parish government and move people by literally the multiple hundreds, and as those people get off the buses, our ROTC students will be the first welcome piece for those people. And all of the other components are all being done by military adult people. So that's certainly an honor for, I think, our kids. And then on the Saturday, and again, we're getting into the next presentation, but the Saturday of that weekend, Chalmette's band and chorus and ROTC are going to be the mainstay of their concluding ceremony for the community.
Okay. And then the tall ship ceremony, when will that take place?
It's in
What date?
April.
Oh,
It's
okay.
in the end of April, and that's going to conclude the season of celebration of the bicentennial of the Battle of New Orleans.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Anyone
guys.
else? Okay, thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Cassar.
guys,
We
so much.
appreciate it. And we know our students are going to do a wonderful job at all these events. We have very many talented students, and hopefully everyone will be able to participate. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the update on the MoMA Center construction project. Good evening, Mr.
Good
Perry.
evening, good evening. Okay, we're going to start with the MoMA Center. This first view is of the gardens that are being built on the side of the building. This is the vegetable garden. So those are permanent structures that you see. They will have their own irrigation and their own special soil, so vegetables will be able to be grown in there. Here is the main entrance now into the building through the new canopies into the, you can see through the main entrance, that part is blocked off right now. They're just finishing the terrazzo in that hallway. But a lot of the work is completed. Here you can see the wood floor on the second floor of the exhibition hall, and all this wood was reclaimed wood from the building. It was all milled. This is all wood out of the building, turned into the wood flooring. Most of our wood is like that in the building. You can see that shows the wood flooring, and it shows the a wall that runs around the walls of the of that room that house all the electrical and data, because it's solid brick walls, and we couldn't break into those walls, so we had to add on these little walls to it. This is the lobby now underway. All the plaster is done. That leads into the planetarium. This room is the exit from the planetarium. Right now it's just painted gray, but on that wall will be a light curtain that will have all of the constellations in LED lights. So when you leave the planetarium, you'll still be learning more about lighting, about constellations as you go around. Here is the planetarium now. You can see the white. The dome is maybe a third of the way up. But it's taken a long time to get that dome in. But all the materials are there, and they're working constantly on it. I would say another week, and we'll have most of the dome completely finished. And then they can take down all the scaffolding, and you'll be able to see the shape of the room again. Here is a typical new bathroom, of course, without the partitions, of course, but this is a particular room. It's the ladies' room. But if you remember the horrible bathrooms that were in that building before, and it's all going to be really nice and clean and up to date and everything. Here are some of the new doors that are going in. They're matching all the doors that were originally there, and now they're in mahogany. They're hanging the doors now. This is from the light booth looking down into the auditorium. What we're showing there is the terrazzo floor that they're just finishing now. and it can be used as, not the seats will slide back into the wall, and you can use it as an assembly, or you can use it as seating, or you can use it as a science fair. It has a lot of purposes to it. The seating will be for like 178 people. And remember, the old ceiling has been recreated by the people who did the Sanger Theater. We're working on the old medallions that we have. We could save them all, and they're being repaired right now because they're all glass and mirrors, and they're going to be put back along with the original light fixtures. This is looking down into the cafeteria, and that's a terrazzo floor. It's going to be very colorful with greens and reds and yellows and a lot of white. And looking across the cafeteria up to the planetarium, this will hold about 300 and something people for lunch. Here's the kitchen now. It has all of the equipment is there and being hooked up. This room, this is one of the two classrooms, and what I'm showing here is the hood. This is the room where, opposite the garden, our students will be taught how food is cooked, how it comes from the garden and cleaned and prepared and cooked. And this will also be a good place for community involvement, as well as to save people's recipes, get people from the community and have them demonstrate their cooking. Maybe somebody from Rocky and Carlos could show up and show us how they made their lasagna, and it can be filmed so that we don't lose these memories. This is looking down into the garden shed that will eventually have the sundial that will show the track of the sun over its course of a year. Again, the gardens. So the big question is, when is this going to be ready, huh? Mm-hmm. Well, the contractor told me he is looking at a date of December 19th. So I'll take that. Would not put my life on it, but I think by that we'll be close. We'll be close to it. Any questions about MOMUS?
Mr. Carey, the exterior, it's been a few days since I passed by, but I noticed they were laying the driveways. Have they completed that yet?
The big driveway on the side where the buses are coming in is done. Okay. And they're putting up the fence there now along the property line. The last bit of drainage and sewer work is being done in the front of the school right now. And when that's finished, all the rest of the sidewalks will be put in. So in a couple of weeks, the whole front of the school is going to look.
That's the Friscoville side?
The Friscoville side will look up to date now.
Anyone else? Okay.
I do have some on Chalmette High School if you want me to go on.
Sure. Yes, please.
Okay. Oh, I didn't, wait, this is still part of MOMUS. There's some of the terrazzo. Okay, I didn't realize we still had more. Yeah, these are the original window, well, they're not original, they're recreations of the windows and transoms all throughout the school. All the millwork is going to look the same. And if you look at that light, it looks kind of bluish, but in reality it's bright white, and it's all LEDs. So you never have to change light bulbs or anything, and it uses a small amount of electricity. And this is the gallery on the second floor. You can see the lighting is going in, and ours is very flexible lighting. All those little LED lights can be adjusted to aim wherever you want them to aim. And the big round things are the speakers that are in the ceiling for sound. And the sound can be adjusted so as you walk around the room, you hear something different as you walk around through the exhibits. And here's a student, this is the parking drive we were just talking about. This is where the students will be dropped off under cover and go into the auditorium. Okay, now we get to Chalmette High School. So the front is really moving along. The plan is the front gets moved into over the Thanksgiving holidays. Mr. Warner's office the whole administration office gets moved in then. And you can see the front counters now are in place. All that plaster work is being done. All the terrazzo is done throughout that whole area. Of course, it's maroon and white, everything. And this is looking through the main entranceway. As you come in, looking toward the second floor atrium with the glass doors that will stop people from going any further than those glass doors. And if you look in the foreground, you'll see part of the wing of the Fighting Owl in the terrazzo. This is looking down from that balcony into the front entranceway. The glass on the right of the glass is the glass to the administrative office. Here we're on the second floor, same kind of lights that were in the cafeteria up there in this student meeting area on the second floor. And this is broken through. We're breaking into that other hallway. The old hallway of the building will be connected now to all of this. It's just closed off right now for dust, but it's all going to be part of this new area. So here is the entrance to the band room on Palmisano, and here is the inside of the band room now. They've moved some stuff in already. All of the doors on the top of the screen are music storage, instrument storage. And then you see the mirrors, you have office space on the left and uniform storage. Here's all the instrument storage. It's all lockable and all in those rooms so that students can get to their instruments easily and they'll be kept safe. This is the digital library. Very colorful space on the second floor. It will hold 68 computer stations, and the desks are on the job now, just waiting for the floor to go in, and they'll connect the 68 desks. That's the hallway from the in that area. It has 6 other classrooms, and it's a typical classroom. Here you can see the desks that are going into the digital library being stored in a typical classroom right now. This is in the TV studio looking into the lobby, and you can see the grid overhead has been hung, and all the lights will hang from that for the TV studio. And that glass is all soundproof glass in there as well. And then the wall that you can't see to the left is going to be painted that special green paint that they'll be able to use for digital scenery and things. Here's the courtyard now between the buildings. It's being prepared for the new walkways and seating areas. And you can't really tell from this photograph, but there is a screen that runs along the entire top of the girls' locker room that covers all of that unsightly air conditioning units that were up there. It's all hidden from view now. Oh, that's it.
Okay, any questions on Chalmette High School? What is the completion date?
Well, it's still going to be in the spring.
Okay.
But
the same.
over this holiday season is when things are going to move. It's going to be like this waltz of moving classrooms around and moving the Mr. Warner's, with the administration into the new building, so that the last section of the building will be worked on during this right after Christmas, and that's all those the science labs and the first floor. And all that will be renovated, and that'll be the last phase of it all.
So the administration offices will be completely functional after the Thanksgiving holidays?
Yes, that we made that.
And then what about the band room? That'll be completely
they're ready to move
functional
in
also?
whenever they want to move in. They can move in.
Great.
He wanted to wait after football season, but it's ready to move in now.
Okay. Good deal. It looks great, Mr. Carey. Thank you. Mr. Ingram?
Yeah, the only question I have, we didn't have any major change orders or anything like that,
Major change, yeah, well, there were change orders all along the way, you know.
Right.
We handled, no, it's nothing drastic.
Drastic, that's what I'm trying to get at.
No, we didn't forget to earthquake the building or anything.
Okay, good.
It wasn't like that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Carey, for your
Okay.
report. We appreciate them. Okay, next item on the agenda is an education item. Dr. Lewis?
Thank you, Ms. Dysart. Item 5, update on Item 6, Head Start Annual Report.
Well, good evening. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Head Start regulations require that I present to you as well as the public a report published at least once each fiscal year that discloses the following information from 5 separate areas. So I'm going to go through the next 4 handouts with you. The first one is the annual report. It's from last year. I present this to you usually every November. It goes over 5 different sections. Section A just talks about the funds that we received from Head Start. Those are the continuation application grant funds as well as the in-kind contributions that we deliver. Part B talks about the breakdown of those Head Start dollars and our in-kind contribution in the separate categories. So you'll notice salaries, benefits listed there, the supplies, travel, licensing fees, field trips, repair and upkeep, and adult medical services, which refers to our CPR and first aid training. The indirect costs are the shared services and administrative costs that we are allowed to take for the district. Part C talks about the number of children that we serve, and we're funded for 112. You'll notice 117, we have kids that move in and out of the parish. So we had a maximum of 117 over the course of the year, but we're funded for 112. The results of the most recent review by the Secretary and the financial audit, and I'll talk a little bit about that in handout 3, but last December a year ago, we had our federal monitoring, our triennial review, and we had a couple of areas of non-compliance, and those findings have been corrected, so we are currently in full compliance with no corrective action required. Part E refers to the percentage of enrolled children that receive medical and dental exams. 99% of all children were up to date on the schedule of preventive and primary health care, their shots, immunization. We had one child who left before they were able to get their immunization. The number of children receiving medical treatment in those following categories. The number of children receiving dental care. So 117 children received an oral exam, with 27 receiving additional treatment. Part F talks about our parent involvement activities for the year, and those things are the types of activities we conduct on a yearly basis. Our orientation before the year starts, our home visits, our report card conference days and conferences that teachers have with parents. We have an open door policy in our preschool program, so parents can come in and work in their children's classrooms. We have a number of workshops that we provide throughout the course of the year for our preschool parents, including disciplining children, adult education programs, mental wellness, health issues, and you can see developmental activities for our kids. We do a lot of activities transitioning kids from pre-K to kindergarten, and those are conducted throughout the year. We have a number of special activities, reading is fun days, field trips to the zoo, aquarium, grandparents' day, math and literacy nights, and we close out the year with our family picnic. And then Part G talks about, again, our transitions to kindergarten, the number of children that we serve with IEPs. So that's our annual report for the last school year. That second handout just talks about our academic and the kinds of progress that our children, our Head Start children, make over the course of the year. This is a summary of the end of the year results. We use the creative curriculum. It's a nationally recognized curriculum, and the Teaching Strategies Gold is an assessment tool. It measures kids' achievement based on 38 objectives in these various categories that are listed there: literacy, physical fine motor, social emotional, physical gross motor, language, math, and cognitive abilities. You know, our goal is for 80% or more of our students to meet and exceed those expectations, and we far exceeded those. You'll notice 99%, 99%, 98, 97, 95, 92, 91. On the second page, we also have, we look at our growth summaries, so you'll notice the number of children who are still a little bit below, and of course we're dealing with those. We target those kids and work with them. We further analyze our data by gender and by race, and again, there's small differences. Again, I'm sad to say that the females still outperform the males, and we're working hard at that. The overall school readiness goals that we've developed, we're going to keep those same goals and keep working to improve in all areas. The third handout is the overview of findings, the latest that we received. You know, back in April, I presented to you the findings that the Federal Monitoring Review Team came in and gave us some findings. Remember, we had 80 areas that we were complying in and 2 areas that they had some findings on. And those 2 areas, again, just to refresh your memory, those were areas of we didn't have exit signs to the hallway in one of our schools, and we had 2 uncovered garbage cans in 2 of our classrooms. And of course, we corrected those immediately. The other area was in something that we had done procedurally for the last, as long as I've been director of Head Start, where, you know, we've always had a sitting board member on our policy council, and we deliver that monthly financial report to the board member who you know, then relates that information to you all. Well, they felt like we should give a copy to each individual board member. And so we corrected that by, now you know when you get a newsletter, you're going to get it through the newsletter. And so we've done that on a monthly basis. And that was something that, you know, you live and learn. I don't know why it was okay for the last, as long as I've been doing this, I think 5 reviews, but then all of a sudden it wasn't okay. So, but we've corrected those, and you'll notice here, accordingly, no corrective action is required at this time, and we're in full compliance. The last handout, and this again is something that we must do annually, it's just to kind of refresh your memory and remind you of your roles and responsibilities as governing board members. You know, as the school board, you are the governing body for our Head Start program. And so this is kind of just a history and a little bit of a delineation of your roles and responsibilities. So we're in our 24th year with Head Start. We're still funded for 112 4-year-old students. Remember, we're targeting our 4-year-olds. We have 1 class of Head Start at Araby, 1 class at Davies, 2 at Smith, and 2 at Goche. The board has the legal and fiscal responsibility to guide and oversee the program, and it's accomplished in the following ways. You receive reports formally from me or Ms. Siebert at our board meetings. You also receive reports from us through the board newsletter. We follow we follow the same procedures that the St. Bernard Parish School Board does in terms of hiring new employees, and so we follow that procedure. The school system provides services to the Head Start program through the following departments: finance, maintenance, and food services. We have a sitting board member on our policy council, and many of you have served in that capacity. We will be having a new board member. Mr. Warner's term is going to be expiring, so we will have on the Head Start board. So we will have a new sitting board member on our policy council in January, and that representative participates in our monthly meetings, oversees the budget, reviews the grant application, approves written plans, and conducts the annual self-assessment. We share you all as board members share governance with the Head Start Policy Council. We have a listing of our last year's board officers, and we'll be having our election of new officers this Tuesday at our Policy Council meeting. And then informally, you gather information as you attend activities at the individual schools. Finally, all Head Start financial operations are audited as part of the St. Bernard Parish School Board system-wide audit, and I think this year Head Start was one of the focus areas where they usually do a little more intense scrutiny, and again, we had no findings with the audit. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention, and I'd be remiss if I did not. Again, I always like to give a lot of credit to Ms. Siebert and our preschool management team, Ms. Desitel, and the team, Ms. Nurse Armstrong, Ms. Juno, our family service worker, Ms. Ostendorf, our secretary, and our teachers and paraprofessionals in our preschool program, because without them, we wouldn't be able to function. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have on any of the topics we talked about.
Thank you, Dr. Radwold. I'd like to thank you for your presentation on this evening. Also, just commend everyone that you mentioned as far as our preschool program, 24 years mentioned. We have an excellent program, something that we're very proud of here in St. Bernard. And also, it's great to hear, even though we had those minor things when we went through the monitoring, that we are in full compliance. So that's very good to hear, and we appreciate it. Any questions from anyone? Okay.
Okay,
Thank you. Item 7
Just a
is...
minute. Dr. Raviota, do you want something for your policy council minutes to say that the board accepted the report?
I think it just has to be published. So we
Okay.
publish it in the minutes, and also I think it goes into the newspaper too. So.
All right.
You okay? Okay. Item 7 is an executive item. Mr. Long, who's taking it? Okay, Mr. England?
Yeah, Mr. Long's not with us tonight, so I'll take this. The personnel changes for the month of November, this is for your information only. Ms. Foche, Mr. Cranberry is not with us.
Now, with this evening, in your folders tonight would be the changes since last month, just the normal appointments and leaves and resignations and such. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions? Again, this is for information only. Thank you, Ms. Foche. Okay, item number 8 is Act 570, the hearing officers. Ms. Foche?
All right, in your packet is a copy of Act 70, which was passed in the recent legislative session, that deals, one part of it deals with potential hearings for tenured teachers and administrators. And part of the act requires that the school board approve a group of 5 potential hearing officers. Credentials for hearing officers, they must be either retired judges, practicing attorneys, mediators, or arbitrators. And what we have here is a list of 5 who have agreed to serve in that capacity. So if we would be faced with a situation of potentially having a hearing, we would then randomly choose one of these 5 people who have agreed to serve in that particular capacity. So at this point, I would ask that the board would vote to approve this list of potential hearing officers.
Ms. Foche, let me just ask you a question. Is there any compensation to these people when they do this? Or is
Yes.
this volunteer? Is it volunteer?
No,
or
it's not volunteer.
Okay.
They are paid at the regular rates that are approved by the Attorney General for people serving, attorneys serving in this particular capacity.
Okay.
So this is a compensated arm's length transaction, so people are not doing this on a volunteer basis, because this is really a formal hearing at such point. But the school board would pay for the cost of these services.
Right. Is it hourly or is it just
It'd be an hourly rate.
Right. Okay, fine. Ms. Dysart, thank you, Ms. Foche.
Thank you, Mr. England. As Ms. Voce said, this is a mandate by the state legislature. This is not something that
Another one of those unfunded mandates.
Right, another unfunded mandate, but it's not something that the school St. Bernard Parish School Board has decided to do. It's been mandated by the state that we do this. So, as a result, I would like to make a motion that we name, as recommended by the superintendent, under Act 570, the hearing officers as Alan Boudery, Michael Fanning, Adele Faust, Robert Cleese, and Van Robichaux.
That's Alan Boudery Jr.
Oh, it's Alan Boudery Jr. And I'd like to place that in the form of a
Okay.
motion.
Okay, fine. We have a motion by Ms. Dysart, second by Mr. Devana. Any questions, please?
Just clarification, Ms. Voce, these five would be rotated. You said they would be picked.
They would be randomly picked by
picked.
lot, so it could be the same person picked more than once. So it's
Oh.
not in a rotating manner at all. It's randomly picked. And I do want to, of course, I hate to put a jinx on anything, but I do want to say that, I've been superintendent for, we're getting 10 years now, over 10 years now, since 2004. We have never had a tenure hearing. And in the years prior to that, I would have to go way, way back to remember. So this is not a common occurrence. It could happen, but it is not a common occurrence by any means. But this is a statewide mandate passed in this last session. Previously, the school board was the panel which heard any type of a tenure hearing, and that had been in effect since the beginning of time. But in the last few years, some of these under Act 1 of the, I think, 2012 session, then a lot of it was changed, removing some of the powers from the school board, placing those powers in the hands of the superintendent, and this is one of the byproducts, so that if there would be an appeal by a teacher or an administrator, tenured now teacher or administrator, instead of the board hearing it, then an impartial hearing officer then would hear that particular appeal.
Thank you, Ms. Foche. Any questions by board members? If none, please cast your vote.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, we move on to item number 9, finance, Ms. Fana.
Thank you, Mr. England. Okay, now, item number 9, request permission to advertise for a request for proposal to increase the wireless infrastructure at each school site. Mr. Halton and Mr. Brown, good evening.
Good evening. Yes, we are asking permission to advertise for a request for proposals to increase and upgrade the wireless network infrastructure at all schools. The original wireless system network was installed in 2010. Since that time, we have increased use on the capacity of the system. We have additional requirements for online testing. So the time has come now that we need to upgrade the system.
Mr. Brown, do you have anything you want to
Sure.
add to that? Sir?
E-rate has been around for 17 years. It started in 1997. And in July, they released what's known as the E-rate modernization report. So for the first time in 17 years, they've done an overhaul of the program and all of the procedures and guidelines that govern the funding. And out of these regulations came two things for us that are relatively positive. First of all, they changed the discount calculation method. In the previous years, you would calculate your discount by taking the number of free and reduced lunch students over the total population per school, and then they would put it into this magical formula, and you would get a district percentage. Well, that procedure is now changed, and now it has become an overall, what is your district percentage of free and reduced lunch over the total population of the district? So out of that, for us, that places us in the top funding category for Category 2 services. That's going to allow us to take advantage of the second thing that came out of this modernization report, and that was a $1 million funding for Category 2 services, specifically focusing in on wireless infrastructure. So what we would like to do is to take advantage of the opportunity that we're going to have over the next 2 years, because it's only guaranteed for the next 2 years to be this way, although funding is not guaranteed for 2 years. But the process is guaranteed for the next 2 years. So we feel like, with the situation being as it is, that we would be in a very good spot to receive 85% off of our purchases towards expanding and updating the wireless infrastructure at each one of the school sites. So we want to get ourselves prepared now so that when the window opens in January, we can take full advantage of what lays before us and hopefully move forward.
Anyone have any questions? Dr. Lewis?
Mr. Powell, I'd like to go ahead and make that motion to get permission to advertise for request proposal to increase wireless infrastructure at each school site.
Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Lewis. We have a second by Mr. Warner. Anybody have any comments or questions for Mr. Brown? No. And Mr. Brown, this will also prepare us for the new park assessments, correct? That our students will be able to do all of their online testing?
This will take us a step further. You know, over the last 2 years, I've come before you, and we have been preparing for the park assessments online. And we were fully prepared, 100%, to go online testing this year with all of the work that we have done over the previous 2 years. Now, the state, of course, has changed the situation, so we're kind of in limbo. But where this will take us now is on the day-to-day basis, from the curriculum perspective, from the teaching perspective. By increasing our wireless infrastructure, we can give teachers better and more reliable access to the internet in their classrooms so that they can provide students with online testing opportunities in their classrooms as a practice towards the final accumulation at the end of the school year.
Well, that's excellent. That's excellent. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, for your hard work. Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Lewis and a second by Mr. Warner. Please vote your machine.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Next, we have item 10, bid tabulations for bids received for spices and seasonings, Class 2, cereal, dried beans and crackers, Class 3, frozen foods, Class 5, meat and meat products, Class 6, should be meat and meat products, Class 6, poultry and eggs, Class 7, seafood products, Class 8, and canned goods, Class 9. Good evening, Ms. Bloom.
Good evening. We're asking permission to accept the bid tabulations, and we had 5 vendors submit bids. They were tabulated, and the tabulations reflect the lowest price for each item with respect to the bid conditions and the specifications.
Okay.
And this is a 6-month bid. It's from January 1st to June 30th, 2015.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Bloom? Any comments?
Mr. Town?
Yes, Ms. Dysart.
I'd like to move that we accept all lowest bid as recommended by Ms. Bloom. And I do have a question.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Dysart, a second by Mr. England, and go ahead with your question, Ms. Dysart.
Ms. Bloom,
Yes.
I know that food prices have gone up tremendously. And this is a 6-month bid. What
Yes.
was, in comparison to the last 6 months before we bid this, what difference, what percentage or ballpark percentage
Well,
difference have you seen?
I did some selected items that would have a large impact, and actually they're about the same. Some things went down, some things, but it's only a 6-month bid. And you realize that many school systems have a 1-year bid. And so I'm expecting a larger increase in the spring for the fall, as is a lot of our brokers and vendors are telling us, and food, people who deal in food for schools are projecting the increase. But right now it's pretty stabilized. A few things changed by 5%, but some things changed up and down, but it's been about the same because that's what I thought. I was worried about that, and so I picked selected items, and it's about the same as it was. So we should be pretty stable for the next 6 months.
So you see the larger change coming in
Yes, I
the
do.
following bid?
Yes, I do, and we'll watch that, because sometimes we get projections in the fall, and then they don't pan out as they were predicted, or they do. and then we'll have to look at the menus and look at the items that we purchase and make adjustments that way to keep our cost, and our customers satisfied too.
Thank you, Ms. Bloom.
All right.
Okay, anyone else? Ms. Bloom, also the new changes in the federal nutritional guidelines, that has caused an increase, a slight increase in some of the items that we have to purchase, hasn't it?
Absolutely. They have, low sodium has taken a greater effect this year, and so we have to watch all of that. But we have had to increase the fruit at breakfast. So instead of a half a cup of fruit at breakfast, now we have to give a whole cup, and that's about 30 cents more, of an increase. And we've had to have items that are lower in fat, and we've had to increase fruits and vegetables along the way, as you know. We talked about that last year. And all of that does impact the cost of all the food. So,
And the wheat.
yes,
wheat
and all
bread.
whole grains. So we can't have anything that's enriched or white, like people eat, and that all costs more money. So from last year to this year, we have had an increase, but right now it's stable from one 6-month period to another. But the increase has definitely affected us. Our plate, the raw food cost on average is about 10 or 15 cents more a plate. I watch that all the time, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that we try to keep the food cost as low as possible. But when you have to offer, and the children, or we're trying to encourage them to take the things that they like and that have to be on their plate, because they have to have a fruit or a vegetable on that plate for breakfast and lunch. We can't just offer it and they can walk past it anymore. So we're really, really trying to find something like at high school, maybe I shouldn't say this, but at high school, all the students love the shelf-stable juice, and that's a half a cup. So we stopped giving the vegetable on the plate because we just had food waste, and we started putting that juice on the plate, and they're taking the juice, and at least they're having it and consuming it instead of our garbage cans consuming it. But it's a problem across the country, it really is, and I think the students are becoming more and more maybe accepting of the grains, because you talk about it, but really the manufacturers are getting a little bit better at it. They're using some white wheat, and the kids I notice when I go into schools, Wednesday's always my day, or Thursday's always my day to go into schools, and I watch, and I'm seeing more and more eating and less kind of resistance to things like rice and pasta and the whole grain cereal, and some things they don't even know. We've been serving whole grain pizza since I've been here for 9 years, but they don't know it. Well, now they do. I guess they know it now. But, so it is a learning, and really it is the way that Americans should eat. It really is. So hopefully these children will grow up eating better and less childhood obesity, and of course obesity in adulthood, and healthier people.
Are we
So that's the
seeing
goal.
less food being wasted now? I know in the beginning, a lot of the food, as you said, made its way into the garbage can. Are we seeing where they're eating more of the food, or are we now making different selections that the food is something that the students are more apt to eat than
Yes, that's what we're trying. That's the whole process for us, the learning process, to make sure that we're serving something that will be acceptable. So, for instance, the little kids like broccoli, but they really don't like spinach. So I have broccoli, and I have to have green leafy vegetables every week. So I'd rather put broccoli on the plate a couple of times a month and just have spinach maybe once, and then we try to do different things with it, sometimes raw, sometimes frozen, sometimes in a can. And we really do try fresh fruit instead of all canned fruit, or as I said, fruit juice. We can give 50% fruit juice, so they like that, and it is a learning process for us and for them to sort of figure out what they like. But to answer your question about the plate waste, there still is a lot of plate waste, and that's very disheartening. But we try to figure out what maybe they like a lot, and then we can, we've introduced some new things to elementary school, like nachos, and that's whole grain. and a ravioli that they like that's whole grain, and they really like it. So we try and, we're trying some new things to see what their taste will allow us to do, and keep on working on it.
We might have to set up a little taste test lab with the children and test those items out before
Right.
we get
Sometimes
big quantities
we do
of
that.
them.
Sometimes we do taste tests on our items to see what they like and what's acceptable. And it takes children a few times to test something to decide if they want to eat it or not, too. So you can't just stop after one time. You have to gradually, introduce it maybe 5 or 6 times. I think the statistics or, the studies show about 5 or 6 times for children to really be introduced and try something before they accept it.
And
So-
I know what you're saying, because when I had lunch duty, it surprised me how many of the children wanted to go back for broccoli seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember
like
when I was in school, we used to open up the little milk carton and shove it all in there because you had to eat everything on your plate. And
know.
the broccoli, the beets, all went into the empty milk carton. But now they want to eat that. That was our little secret. Shh, we didn't tell our teachers.
Right.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Ms. Bloom, what
Yes.
about the portions? The portions, is this a varies from the middle school to the high school? Or
Yes.
for elementary?
Elementary school portions are different than high school, and middle school portions, yes.
Yeah. If you find something that's not really working, do you put less of that?
Well,
I'm just going for portion-wise.
well, the problem is
Instead of
that you
having all
really
this
don't
waste.
have as much leeway as you did before, because you have to give a certain size portion of certain items. So fruits and vegetables have to be a half of a cup. You can't
Okay.
just give, or a whole cup. You used to be able to give a fourth of a cup of fruit or vegetable and a half a cup of fruit or vegetable and make 3/4 of a cup total on the plate. It's not like that anymore. And so you're allowed to give more bread items or pasta or rice, and you're allowed to give more meat than is required. So you can give a larger portion of that as long as you stay within the calories and everything else that you
Okay.
have to do. But the fruits and the vegetables, you have to give that minimum amount. You can't give just like a little taste or, let's try to give 1/8 of a cup or 4. You can't do that
And to see if they
anymore.
like it or not, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and we
well-
do have offer versus serve, which means that the children can come through the line. They can pick 3 things, one of which has to be a fruit or a vegetable on their plate, and 2 other things. And then we offer everything else. So if they don't, we try to offer the things that maybe aren't as popular, but they might like to try. And we try to encourage them to choose the things that they really do like and will eat. And so that's what we work on.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Anyone else? You're welcome to. Anyone else? All right, well, we have a motion and a second. Thank you, Ms. Bloom.
You're welcome. Thank
If
you.
there's nothing further, please vote your machines.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, Ms. Bloom, and turn it back over to you, Ms. Dysart.
Thank you, Mr. Fata. Before we go on, there are a couple of items that point of privileges. I feel a little remiss, very remiss, for not pointing out in the beginning of the meeting. Is Mr. Hartman still here? No? Well, we should have mentioned when he came before us that we're very glad that he's back with us, and he looks great. And also, should have mentioned this in the beginning of the meeting, but congratulations to Dr. Henderson Lewis, who was just reelected to the school board for another 4 years. Congratulations. I know you're glad that election's over. And we'll look forward to working with you. Okay. And next item on the agenda, Ms. Voce.
I have nothing else tonight.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn? There's a motion by Mr. Campbell, second by Ms. Acevedo. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? There being none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you and good night.